Hello, everyone. Welcome to Serani Sembang, the live webcast going all around the world. And I'm really happy to be here and to have done this on our 20th anniversary, because 20 years ago, I started up a myfamily.com website, which eventually became Serani Sembang, helped by several very key Serani, you could say, community innovators. And this evening, what we're going to do is we're going to share with you some of the memories of how it all began. And it'll kick off what is, you could say, our very first webcast, which we hope will become a weekly thing. Currently, just to let you know, we are actually streaming into YouTube, which is also reachable via Facebook. And if you want to, you can actually share this streaming webcast right this very minute. You can share it with various other people, because access to the YouTube webcast is actually free for all. So yeah, but please feel free to quickly ring up Auntie Maggie and Uncle Ben and tell them that Serani Sembang is now kind of like online, and we've got a very special show for you with some very special people. Two people whom I shall be introducing you to are, you could say, co-collaborators with me on this first show, and I'm hoping that they will join me further down the line to become a part of Serani Sembang, because, as you know, the idea to do this only happened about a week ago. So we've only had about 1 week to prepare this, and we hope that you will enjoy it and also forgive any of our screw-ups that might happen along the way, because we're working with live webcasting and with applications that we've only kind of like started using about a week ago. And the reason why it was only a week of preparation was because I thought, you know, in this pandemic, with nothing much to do between ourselves, why not set ourselves a Herculean project and start this for the 20th anniversary of Serani Sembang, you know? And thankfully, some very, very patient and tolerant souls have joined me on this journey, and I'm very, very happy to have them with me. I'm going to now bring online, right, Carrie Ann Augustine. Hi, Carrie Ann.
Hi, Vernon.
Hi.
I think this is
so,
cool.
yeah,
You can actually teach old dogs new tricks.
Yeah. Well, this old dog learned quite a number of new tricks, I can tell you. Yeah, so here we are doing our first inaugural webcast, right? we talked about this 1 week before I decided let's do this, right? We kind
Mm-hmm.
of like met up and were talking about various kind of like issues, and one of the things was like, yeah, let's see how we can learn new tricks,
Absolutely.
in this time when so many things are pivoting, and I think why not Serani Sembang also pivot, right?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, because just to share with you, I pivoted Serani Sembang several times. I mean, the Emong Family Tree website pivoted to become Serani Sembang, and then
Yeah, that's
Serani
right.
Sembang website pivoted to become the Facebook page, and as various other Eurasian and Serani and other groups formed on Facebook, I pivoted that Facebook page to kind of like, focus on key issues, discussions that were a little bit more in depth and perhaps maybe even controversial, right? But anyway, talking about controversial, let's bring on someone who's actually the most controversial of them all, the man who basically inspired Serani Sembang. Let's bring on Vincent Michael Woodville. Hello
Hi
there.
everyone, how are
Hi,
you?
Vincent.
Hi Carrie Ann, Vernon.
Yeah, how are you over there?
Very good, very good.
And how has the journey of 1 week been?
Hectic, but
Hectic.
very
Yeah,
interesting. I'm another
very
old dog
interesting.
that taught new tricks.
Pivoting. You pivoted. My boy, you pivoted.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to leave Carrie Ann to speak with Vincent about how it all began more than 20 years ago, right? From I think 1987. So here you go, Carrie Ann Augustine and Vincent Michael Woodville, and I'm out of here.
Ciao. Bye, Vincent.
Hi Carrie Ann.
Okay, so actually, how this whole thing started was you were actually at the root of it because you were really interested in finding out about your family tree. And, to do something like that, there's so much work involved, so many details to go through, like tons of pages and details and records and stuff like that. So, what was your motivation in actually getting started on this?
So initially, my family always referred to people as being these are relatives, these are people who are related to us. But when I decided to ask them in what way are we related to them, most of
Mm,
the time they couldn't tell us. They said that, oh, we related in some way, it's a distant cousin. But when I started putting together the tree, I realized that the Bootvilles were related to a lot of people as
right.
Serani and Eurasians, they also related to nearly everybody. And that was the interesting part about starting the family tree research.
Okay, okay. And you actually started it quite a long time ago in the late 80s, am I right?
That's right. When I first interviewed my grandmother was 1987.
87. And this was
Yes.
even before the internet was an actual thing.
Yes, exactly. And
Yeah, yeah.
and I was writing, letters to people using a fountain pen. Yes, so the
Oh,
initial
goodness.
tool was actually, non-digital.
Right. So you had to, how did you accomplish all that? I mean, it must have taken a lot of patience and perseverance as well to do this.
Yes, exactly. I wrote to 100 people and five of them sent back replies. And so in reality, that took weeks and weeks. We're not talking about minutes of getting a reply from someone online.
Yeah. So you had to wait for them to write back to you, mail and stuff like that. And where did you get actually these names were from your research initially?
So at the very, very beginning, they were people that were family,
Hmm.
relatives, and then eventually, when the early 90s started and the middle 90s started, people started to get email. People started to get
Okay.
ICQ.
Mm-hmm.
I went online and I found in a library the Australian census that had
Okay.
Woodville names in it. There were
Wow.
the white pages from
Mm-hmm.
Singapore and
Okay.
Malaysia, and so eventually I managed to get a lot of contacts and wrote to them.
And why was it important to you to speak to a community of people?
Yes, because one of the interesting things is that different branches of the family had different portions of the family tree, and the
Mm-hmm.
family tree was never comprehensive end to end because
Right.
everybody had it. Everyone had a little bit of picture. Everyone had a few photographs. Everyone had a very small view of that. And
Okay.
sometimes there were Woodvilles that were buried in other people's family tree. In
Okay.
the
All right.
Jeremiahs and the Roselles,
Mm.
in
Mm.
other families. And so for
Okay.
me to put together my family tree,
Ooh.
it required me to find a lot of other information in other family trees.
Right. Right. So if you didn't contact you if you just contacted everyone with just the Woodville name, you wouldn't have gotten the full picture of it.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And that's when like for example, the Martins, we related to the Martins, and some of the Martins didn't know that I had a photograph of their
Wow.
great grandfather. So like the
Okay.
wedding photograph that you see right now, that was something that people didn't have, but we had it. So there were people in other trees and other parts of the tree that have photographs that we have never seen either.
That's
So in that
amazing.
so in that way, we could find much more about the family that way.
Okay. Okay. And then you came up with the Woodville family website.
Yes, exactly. And I found out that there was a tool, there was a website that could host a Woodville family website. And in that family website was the ability to create forums and photographs and
Okay.
recipes and files and
That's so cool.
conversations. And that was the beginning of the Woodville family website.
Okay. Okay. And when was this that the Woodville family website was launched?
So we were talking about 1997, 98, around
Oh.
that period there.
Okay.
And
And what was the response like to this from the Woodville family?
so um, there were about 20, 30, 40 people, as time progressed, more and more Woodville started to get on, and they got excited, and the husbands and wives that didn't have Woodville surnames started to come on, and then people
Mm.
started talking about it, and then there were more and more Serani and more Eurasians that were joining, and people started discussing things about their part of the family, and maybe it related to Woodvilles, maybe it didn't relate to Woodvilles, but were all about Serani culture, where they
Okay.
live, the village, the churches, etc.
Okay. And what was how would you say, how did they receive it in that sense? Was it something that they looked forward to? Was it something that they participated, everyone participated in? What was the flow like?
It was very, very interesting because unlike messaging,
Yeah.
you didn't get interrupted. You just added stuff when you were typing your story, and nobody interrupted you.
Nice.
And you could share
Okay.
photographs, and all of the things were very new to the people at that time.
I'm
and
sure.
uh,
Yeah.
and they took on to it in a enthusiastic way. Conversations were happening all over the place.
That's fantastic. Okay. So it was, I'm sure it's new, like how we look at Serani Sembang, and those of us who've never seen photos of our grandparents or great grandparents, it's pretty exciting. So from that, it somehow grew into, how did it get into Serani Sembang?
So what happened was the Boudeville family,
Mm-hmm.
who by that stage in 1999 had become a minority on the Boudeville family website. We
Okay.
had more and more people whose surname wasn't Woodville, and who, and the majority of Woodvilles didn't know how they were related to us.
Yeah.
And the conversations were all going on about things that we personally were not involved in. And so we started to receive a lot of complaints from the Woodvilles that said, "Oh, our website's been taken over by all of these people." And so I discussed it among the people who were the moderators and the
Right.
admins of the website, and it was from there that they that we discussed the root cause of all this is because the website is actually tied to an individual surname.
I
and therefore
see.
people
Okay.
felt possessive about it.
Okay.
And so, with the Woodville family website, it wasn't maybe the right forum. We needed one where it was
Okay.
common to everybody. And so Vernon was the one who had the brilliant idea to start up one that was completely independent of an individual family name.
He always has brilliant ideas.
Exactly. Then and now.
Then and now, then and now.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So that is actually the root of Serani Sembang. That's why it happened.
Yes, exactly. And
Okay.
the conversations slowly went over to the other side.
Okay, that's great. Um, and then running research like this through so many years and so many records and stuff like that, what did you find most surprising about that? Or did you find any info that, shocked you or baffled you in any way?
So one of the main things that I started off with is that the realization that we were all related. Okay, so that was the first amazing thing, is that no one
Okay.
could say I'm not related to you. In actual fact, I can find a way that through two individual people in the Serani community who are linked to each other via marriage or by blood in some way or another.
Right,
So
right,
that's the first surprising thing. The second
right.
surprising thing is that all of the records in one way or another are
Mm-hmm.
there and available. Okay, we can eventually find those records if there is a way that we can find it, we can find it. Another thing is that a lot of us have family stories, and these
Right.
family stories are like myths.
Okay.
And one of the family myths that we have in the Woodville family is that our original Woodville was a captain of a ship, and he came over being a captain. And I found
Okay.
out through research that he was actually a sailor and not captain.
Do you know
But there
where he,
was
he actually came from? Like where he was sailing from?
Yes, yes. He came from France, and he came on a French ship, and he ended
Mm-hmm.
up in Pondicherry, which was a French
Wow.
colony in
Right.
India at that stage.
Yep.
The first mention of him. So the records are being kept in France in the Maritime Museum. So we have
Wow.
the example of of that record. But one that was the surprising thing, that he wasn't a captain, and but there were captains, Woodvilles,
Okay.
who were captains later on. And another thing is that I also discovered, surprisingly, is that in the British colonies at that
Mm-hmm.
time, there were slaves. And it completely surprised me because I didn't know that slaves existed in the colonies at that time. So I learned a lot of things that way as well.
Yeah, it's really cool. Actually, that could amount to a whole different batch of information if you dig even further.
Exactly,
That's the cool thing
exactly.
about history.
Yes.
And then, based on that research, you also produced a book, the Woodville family book. So tell us a bit
Yes.
about how you came up with that.
So exactly, if we go back to the original problem that I had, is that nobody saw a family tree, nobody
Right.
knew where the family tree was, and so
Mm-hmm.
now I have done over 30 years worth of research, and that research enabled me to put together uh, over 1,000 page Woodville family tree book. And in this book contains every bit of information that I have collected over the last 30 years. And that book contains family trees of individual parts of the Woodville family, including contents and index. So you're able to search where your part of the tree is and how you're related to other people in the Woodville family tree.
That's really cool, Vincent. That's so cool. So if I guess anyone who is watching this webcast right now, and if they want to get a copy of that book, they can just email you, right?
Yes, exactly. And so, if you are a Woodville descendant, I believe that all our ancestors belong to all of us, and so it's important that this tree, this knowledge, doesn't disappear as it has in the last 300 years.
Absolutely.
So yes, anyone just email me.
Also, it's a great way to make sure you don't end up marrying a cousin of yours. So it's vincent.woodville@gmail.com. I think you can see it on the screen right there if you want to get in touch with Vincent and find out about the book. And
Yes.
it is back to you, Vernon.
Yeah, thanks, Vincent, for sharing with us your journey from the time you started, when your interest first began with the family stuff. Thank you very much. And now we're going to go over to someone who is whom I respect greatly, and I think you do too.
Hi Vernon, congratulations on 20 years of Serani Sembang. This is indeed a milestone, and this success is a reflection of your passion, dedication, creativity, and tenacity. Happy to call you my friend, and let me try in the mother tongue of my grandmother to wish you well. Eu reza Deus logo benze kubos tudo dia. God bless and lots of love.
Yep, so here I am back again, and I'm going to bring on Carrie Ann again. Carrie Ann, by the way, is a journalist, and so she is going to play her role of interviewing me. Okay, here you go, Carrie Ann.
I think you need to grow more hands, Vernon.
I know, it's
Yeah.
incredible. I'm juggling like hell.
So let's talk about Serani Sembang and its 20 years. You know, it
Okay.
feels like I just joined yesterday, but we all know I was probably born yesterday. And Serani Sembang itself, how did you come up with that title?
Well, when I was growing up as a child, I used to hear the word Serani from my
Mm-hmm.
grandparents and my parents and my uncles and aunties. And I realized that, oh, that's what we call ourselves. And then, of course, as you get older, you move into officialdom. And that's where I discovered that there was an official kind of like label for us, which was Eurasian. And I was quite happy to use Eurasian, except that when I went to school or, started to have friends and they'd say, what are you? And I'd say, I'm a Eurasian. And they'd say, okay, so which father or mother is European? And I'd go, oh, no, actually, both my parents are Eurasians. And then they'd go, so therefore, which grandfather or grandmother on which side is European? And I'd go,
Right.
actually, three of them were Eurasians, but maybe you could say they were Serani. And that's how the word Serani came to mind when I wanted to create a name for the website. Serani seemed to be something that appeared to exist and was legitimate. So I chose to use Serani. And the word Sembang actually came about because I have a friend, Murad, and he's a filmmaker as well as a writer. And what happened was he had this column in the newspapers where he'd invite various people to sit around a table and he'd interview them about cinema, about movies. So it was called Cinema Sembang. And when I heard the word Sembang, I thought, oh, Sembang sounds interesting, and it actually means, a casual chat, a gathering of friends. And Cinema Sembang was basically movie buffs coming together and having a wonderful time talking about movies. So
Right.
therefore, when I was looking for the name, Serani Sembang seemed to work really well, and I thought it's casual, which was important for me, and it's also homegrown, which is what we are really. We're really homegrown. So
Yeah.
Serani seemed to be a great way to go.
Also, we love to gossip. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, well, every community, loves to talk about each other. I mean, like,
Absolutely.
yeah, conversations
But
is the one.
Vernon, can I ask you, when you were talking about that, telling people when they asked you what your race is, did it surprise you that people did not know what Serani was at that age?
Well, at that age, of course, I wouldn't use it in conversation. But later down the line, as I grew up, right,
Yeah.
when people did say what you are, and I, inclined towards saying I'm Serani,
Yeah.
mostly older people understood it for what it
Understood.
was.
Okay.
Which was,
Okay.
oh, you're mixed race, and you have Portuguese. That was generally the response.
Right. Right.
Younger people seem to have forgotten that the word or didn't know that the word existed. Okay, so basically
Okay.
it fell out of common usage and therefore kind of like receded into the background. You know,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So then I'm guessing that Vincent gave you a promise of 1,000 suji cakes before you started Serani
Oh
Sembang.
wow, I think 5,000 suji cakes. I think he's at
Wonderful. That would make
record number
sense.
3. He still got 4,000, whatever.
Yeah. So after giving you the suji cakes, of course, and then having a conversation with you, and then you started Serani Sembang. So what was your initial vision for Serani Sembang?
Okay, well, for me, it was to create an environment where Serani people could actually connect.
Okay.
I am kind of like obsessed with, with computer mediated communications.
Okay.
Like for instance, I scrutinize how people relate to text messaging, to emails, to Facebook, etc. I kind of like, I'm very interested. It really turns me on to look at how things kind of like, happen. And when Vincent had the Budville family website going, it was quite a happening place. It was
Okay.
so much fun. And so when he was faced with the resistance from, or the disquiet from Budville descendants with the Budville surname, who were disturbed by Budville descendants without the Budville surname
Yeah.
seeming to take over the website, and he asked what could we do. I felt it really needed to continue, and therefore the real vision was basically to maintain interaction, communication, conversations among our community. Because
Also
if
an increasingly um, shrinking community. Would you have said that?
actually, yes and no. I mean, like, what we're not shrinking. I think we're evolving because there.
Evolving. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're a
Yeah.
well, based on how the world is coming around to how diverse it is, right? We're coming around to the idea that patrilineal ancestry is as important as matrilineal ancestry.
Okay.
And
Okay.
matrilineal ancestry has always taken a backseat.
Okay.
Okay, so therefore,
It's very
if
true. Yeah.
if a Serani person with a Chinese name, Indian name, or Malay name chose to identify as Serani, they have every right to,
Right.
because it's a
Right.
matrilineal ancestry.
Right.
And this has been my feeling about why I also choose to identify as Serani, because it does, to a certain extent, you could say, signal matrilineal ancestry as
Okay.
much
Fair enough.
as patrilineal
Yeah,
ancestry.
you're absolutely right. We
Yeah.
tend to not focus on that. So 20 years, how has Rani Sembang evolved since you first initiated it?
Okay, it started out kind of like really well, because we already had a huge community of people in the Woodville family website
Right.
who, if they were going to be told to not be so active, or censure themselves or be quiet, would not be able to have authentic connections with each other.
Yeah.
So when they came over, they just continued, and it was wonderful because Serani Sembang just took off really beautifully. And as Vincent said, eventually all the action was happening on Serani Sembang. But of course, as time went on, other people got the idea of how perhaps maybe they could actually create their own little family sites.
Yeah.
And so, especially when Facebook came, a lot of other Serani people, Eurasian people, started to create their own groups. So I realized that I can try and kind of herd people together, but it's going to be difficult. So maybe I should try different things. So then the Facebook community started to do quite different things from all the other Serani Eurasian pages and groups and books. we started to, I guess you could say, focus on pet issues that, my pet issues like heritage, identity, the perhaps even the controversial issues that haunt us from time to time. Why not? Let's excavate that and talk about it and share
Right.
how we feel about it, and
Okay.
that's where it went. And then so now we're moving into this becoming a webcast, based on the
Okay.
fact that that's where everything seems to be moving. So why not we give it a try? Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
And so here we
And
are. You, me,
yeah,
and
and
Vincent,
here we are,
a whole gang of
the
other people.
first one, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more to come.
Yeah.
And you've been so, I mean, you're so involved with I would rather use the word spreading the awareness about our heritage and us as the Serani people as a community. So you've also done some projects with the Eurasian Fiesta in Penang, of course, as part of the Georgetown Heritage Festival. So can you
Yep.
tell us a bit about the kind of projects that you may have done, or maybe some of the more interesting ones?
Well, the Eurasian Fiesta was created by James Rosales and Kathy Rodriguez, and this was, I think, in 2011 or 2012. I think it's 2012. And I went up to Georgetown to participate in it because I thought I would cover it for Serani Sembang, and saw what they were doing and was quite taken by their energy and their drive to bring the community together. And so I said to them, if you need any help with communications, with maybe web promotions or whatever, brand identity, I'd really like to help. And James and Kathy said, yeah, we could do it with help in that area. We have no experience, and obviously because I was an advertising man, so
Right.
he said, yeah, come on board and do whatever you like, and we'll see how it goes. So I ended up designing the logo, which we kept repeating in
For the Eurasian Fiesta itself.
Sorry, say again?
For the Eurasian Fiesta?
Yeah,
The
the
logo with
Eurasian
the heart?
Fiesta
Is that the
logo.
one?
Correct, with the
Okay.
mosaic.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and they liked it so much that we repeated the logo in subsequent years, but changed the colors, and it became
Okay.
quite a recognizable motif.
Logo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also they got me involved in the forums, and at the last Eurasian Fiesta, I actually asked James if I could host the forum, and if I could actually use it in a way that would steal the format from a talk show that I did in KL.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and he said, yeah, go ahead. And so I managed to, with his help, we managed to convince Royal Chulan to give us a venue and free food. And the forum was conducted in a manner that was a little bit more classy, I could say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had various Penang individuals who probably would not have been approached by the Eurasian Association because they were not seen as as how shall I say, as established Eurasians, because one of them was Joshua Resson and the other was Rebecca Wilkinson, and both of them have European ancestry in their background. Rebecca Wilkinson is a very famous Penang artist with a British father, so she's kind of like first generation Serani kind of thing. And Joshua also has way back, I think one of his grandmothers is a Serani, and so I involved them as well because I think we need to be inclusive. Yeah.
And you also I remember this project because I was at the Eurasian Fiesta where you got people to write down the different surnames that was linked to their family on a play card.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, correct. It was the second. It was
Okay.
the second. Yeah, the first forum I talked about how. I think the first forum I talked about how Serani people are actually social media because we share our stories so
Say that
easily.
about my mom. Yeah.
we're actually social media, right? And so that was the topic of my first talk in 2013. So in 2014, for the next talk, I decided I'd like to actually demonstrate how powerful social media was. So
Right. Right.
about like this project, 1 week before I'm supposed to leave for Georgetown, I head off. I head off to before I'm supposed to head off to Georgetown. 1 week before, I basically put on Serani Sembang, send me pictures of yourselves, right? Selfies, and hold a placard telling us what your name is, where your location is, and who are the Serani surnames that you are connected to.
Well, what
And
was your rationale behind that? Putting all the different surnames.
because I wanted to show that that people are connected in various ways. Sometimes through one link, sometimes through many different links, and sometimes
Okay.
not even connected by blood. So we have in the Serani's selfie project, right, portraits selfies of people who are not genetically Serani, but it says they're Serani at heart.
Okay.
Because they were part of our milieu.
Community.
Yeah, and they wanted to be part of it. And I said, yeah, why not? Put Serani at heart. Yeah. So we have some of those people there as well, which I think is wonderful.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. And I think you
Thanks
can
for
see
remembering.
that. You can see those. I think you can see those photos on Serani Sembang, right?
Correct. On the Facebook page,
Okay.
there is an album,
Okay.
and in fact, that was where it started through the Serani Sembang page on Facebook.
Nice.
Within, like, I sent out the notice
Okay.
the night before. The morning when I woke up, I had like 12, 15 selfies. People had actually, and when I showed that encouraged other people to participate as well. So
That's really
for
cool.
me,
Yeah.
so for me, it showed how, if you have an idea and people catch on to it, they will support you. So I'm hoping this
Nice.
happens with the webcast as well.
All right. So one last question before we go. How do you hope, or how do you see Serani Sembang as a platform in the future?
Okay, so from a family website, genealogical sites, perhaps now we pivot, right? And Serani Sembang could become branded content or a branded movement of Serani people, right? Wishing to be bridges of understanding between cultures and between different countries, even different communities, different ways of seeing things. So we can have conversations, maybe even fight a little bit, but move to a better place together. Because eventually, nothing changes without conversation. So if we don't talk to each other, everything just stays the same. So I'm hoping Serani Sembang webcast, the webcast, will become that thing.
Okay, cool.
And
So
also I'd
I'll,
like to say, I'd like to say that it's not just about Serani issues, right?
okay.
It could be about any issue related to any community, but a Serani looks at it through his lens.
So
it'd
what
be
you're
nice.
looking for is people to voice out their opinions as well
Yeah, like for
about
instance,
other things apart from
other
Serani
things.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
for you, for instance, like you were born in Sabah, so perhaps a little episode about what you remember of Sabah. I mean, that'll be nice,
Sure.
right? And so we all learn
Couple
about
of
Sabah.
days. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I mean, it could be that kind of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, just contact me and let me know what you like to do. The more controversial, the better.
According to Vernon. If you like handcuffs and a jail, well, this is perfect.
On my Facebook, I say I'm Batu Api, right? So yeah.
Should be his middle name. Yeah. So to anyone who's actually watching right now or listening, I think if you want to contribute, right, Vernon, you can always leave a message on Serani Sembang. Of
Yep.
course, you can find Vernon on Facebook as well if you'd like to stalk him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll leave it back to you. I think you have other things.
Yeah, a bit difficult to stalk me because of my Cyrillic alphabets. But if you go to Serani Sembang,
That is very true.
the Facebook page, you can actually find me there and send me a
Okay.
message. So join it if you haven't joined yet.
do I do this? I need some help here. B, can you come and help me? I need to film a message for Vernon. Thank you.
What are you even doing?
It's Serani Sembang's 20th anniversary, so I'd like to congratulate. I've been asked to give a clip to congratulate them, so I'm going to do it now. Congratulations to Serani Sembang and Vernon Imong, who started it all, on your 20th anniversary of getting us together, and may you have many, many more. It is a really successful group. Congratulations, and onward to the next 20 years.
What is Sabani Sedang?
It's not what? It's Serani Sembang.
What's Serani Sembang?
It is a Yahoo group. It is an online board where a discussion group, which in the it's actually what you call the precursor to the current WhatsApp groups. But in those days, you actually had to log in online to be able to share things on it. That's what it is. So it's the grandfather of WhatsApp groups today.
How did you get involved in this?
Well, I met Vernon at a Eurasian Association event, and he invited me to join the group, and I've been a member since.
What do you get out of it?
Actually, what we get out of it is we get to know our heritage, we get to share photographs, and learn more about our culture. You can look for family, and most of all, share recipes, make new friends. And you actually do find some family as well, long lost,
Okay, you're talking a lot, but no one knows who you are. So, who are you and what are you up to?
Okay, my name is Sheila Di Costa. I'm the president of the Selangor and Federal Territory Eurasian Association. And what we are up to is that we are trying to build a clubhouse, and this clubhouse will be used for members as well as for Eurasians, Seranis, far and wide. When you come to Kuala Lumpur, you will be able to find somewhere where you can, where everybody knows your name. And I'm also looking if you can help out in any way to help us build, whether you know in interior design, whether you're a contractor, supplier of tiles or furnishings, and most of all, supplier of a wonderful sound system, so that when we have events, we can use that lovely machine for our parties and events.
Okay. You're talking too much. It's not about you.
Yes, okay, it is not about me. It is about Serani Sembang. Once again, Serani Sembang, congratulations on your 20th anniversary, and best wishes and best of luck and best of everything nice for the next 20 years. Onward, Serani.
That was so fun. So cute. I had actually given them an open brief. I said, well, you can do a really serious message, or maybe you can have a little bit of fun with it. And it looks like as though they did have a little bit of fun with it. I like the opening. It's really, really well constructed. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sheila. Thank you so much, Beatrice. I'm still chuckling over it. Yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to bring back Carrie Ann and Vincent. We're all decent, right? Okay, so we're coming to the end of this program. Yeah, you could say it's one heck of a journey from, I think, Monday, when we first spoke about this. And today is Saturday, 6 days. We kind of like planned this. Of course, it could be better, but I decided, let's do it anyway. And we'll see how it all, comes together or does not come together. And we learn from it. And I think that's really important to just give things a go. Yeah. So thank you so much, Carrie Ann and Vincent.
My pleasure.
doing this with me. And
It's been
meanwhile,
fun.
yeah, it was fun. Yeah. And meanwhile, I'd like to, put out a call out to anybody who's watching now or later, once it's kind of like on a podcast. If you have any ideas that you'd like to contribute to Serani Sembang, yeah, it's one way to kind of like get involved with the new technology and help build each other's skill sets. Like I'm slowly turning into an octopus. So yeah.
That will
So
come in
yeah.
very handy. Don't worry.
And of course, I mean, like now we know that Sheila would work really well in a sitcom somewhere. So cute. Okay. Any last words from the two of you?
No, we're all good.
Yeah,
You're
we'd
all
like to
good.
hear from you, from all of you.
From the viewers. Yeah,
Yes.
tell us how you feel about it, and yeah, any kind of yeah, advice, suggestions, etc. So Serani Sembang will be back next week. We don't really know what will be on the show, but who knows? I'm looking forward to the journey ahead. Okay. Happy 20th anniversary, everybody. I am going to play out with Rachel Guotso's composition of her father's composition, and with the message about the special price off that she's given us. So everybody, until we see you again, enjoy, stay blessed, and Serani Sembang.